Today's Sunshine Note is titled, First Love. But I have this one thing against you. You do not love me as you did at first. Remember how you once loved me? Be sorry for your sin and love me again as you did at first. Revelation chapter 2, verse 4 and 5. They had been married for many, many years. He was her first love and she was his. When they first got married, they would sit together as close as they could in the car. It had a bench seat and seat belts were not mandatory back then, so she was glued to his side. One morning, years later, they were driving to church in the same car. He was sitting at his usual place behind the steering wheel, but she was sitting way over by the passenger door. She looked over at him and longingly said, "Honey, do you remember when we used to sit close and all snuggled up in the car?" He stared straight ahead and answered, "Sweetheart, I haven't moved." The story reminds me of today's text because the same thing can happen with God and us. We can gradually begin to move away from Him, and before we know it, we've gone far. The other day I was visiting a junior high Bible class. For worship, the teacher asked his students to pretend that they were little again. So they sang songs at the top of their lungs and went through all the motions. They answered Bible questions without being self-conscious. They were alive. Watching them from the back of the room, I thought to myself, at what age does it end? When does it become lame to sing out in Sabbath school? When is it not cool to know the answer to a Bible question? When does being actively involved in Sabbath school change from texting and whispering? I don't know the answer to these questions, but I do know this. God has not moved. He has been in the same place your entire life. Take some time to look at your life and ask yourself, am I still talking to Jesus every day? Am I still reading my Bible or a Christian book every day? Am I still listening to my pastor trying to get something helpful out of his or her sermon? Do I still volunteer at church and keep involved? Jesus pleads in today's verse, "Remember how you once loved me?" The words are sad ones, aren't they? But the solution to the problem of losing our first love for Him is simple. Remember. Remember and return to that place where Jesus was number one, where He was your first love. But I have this one thing against you. You do not love me as you did at first. Remember how you once loved me? Be sorry for your sin and love me again as you did at first. Revelation chapter 2, verse 4 and 5. May God bless you today.